Alright guys, what's good? So today we're gonna learn how to edit a pretty simple portrait shoot that I did, how to work with your colors and your skin tones, and we're gonna go from there. Alright, so today I shot some senior portraits for a friend of mine, and it was pretty overcast day, so the lighting was perfect. It was very even, very soft, so I shot these photos with a lot of greenery in them, a lot of grass and stuff. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna jump into Lightroom and we're gonna look at these photos. So here are two of the photos from the shoot. This one I like a lot because of the branches and the bush on the side, along with the rocks kind of leading us towards her. So it's a pretty well composed shot, I'd say. And then this one I also like. Could have been cropped in a little more, but we could do that in the edit. So first thing we're gonna do here is I'm always gonna up the shadows just a little to bring out detail in her hair, and then these bushes, and I'm going to increase the exposure just a little bit, and then I'm gonna increase the whites because it'll make her kind of like the highlights in her skin pop a little, and then on the bushes it'll make it pop. And then I'm gonna decrease the blacks just a little. So now it's starting to look a little better. So as we know, basics, you edit the basic color editing so that you could start editing more creatively down below, and I think this is at a pretty good spot right now. So first we're gonna go to the tone curve, and for those of you not familiar with it, up here is the highlights, down here is your lowlights, little shadows and your darks. So I'm gonna increase the highlights and the lights, and I'm gonna bring the shadows down just a little. I'm gonna fade the whites just a little, and I might fade the blacks. Yeah, just a little. So that tone curve kind of makes that image a little more punchy. So now we're gonna go here to the HSL color sliders. First I'm gonna work with the luminance. So these greens, they're popping pretty high. So I'm actually gonna brighten them and make them more white. And the saturation, I might bring them down, up, down. I might bring them down just a tad because I think they're kind of overpowering the image. And then for her skin tone, now her skin tone is primarily orange if we go in. Yeah, so you can see her skin tone's pretty orange. So I'm gonna decrease saturation just a little, but I'm also gonna increase illumination. So you know her skin pops as well. It starts to look dope. And I might actually go into saturation up the greens now just to add a little of the color back into the photo. So I think this photo is looking pretty good. If we look at the before after, it's already miles better than from where we started. So I'm gonna go down here to the blue primary, and this is gonna add really cool effect to it. So this is gonna give us a very summertime, spring, almost fall look to it. And I'm going to make this image just a little more blue, so we add a little of that yellow. We take a little of that orange back and put some blues into it, so her hair has that nice bluish tones, but the greens are very yellowish green. So if we look at the before and after, it looks completely different, and it looks pretty darn good to me. So I'm gonna come up here, clarity, dehaze, vibrance. Gonna up the clarity just a little. Actually, let me see how it looks when it's low. Actually, I like it just a little lower than from where we started. And I'm gonna increase the vibrance so we make all those colors pop, but just decrease the saturation just a little. And I think we're done with that photo. It looks pretty solid, and I think we could send that. So we're on to our next photo here, and this one's pretty good as well. But first thing, like I said in the intro, we're gonna crop in just a little, right? I want to, because this wood is overtaken just a little, so now we have like an even distribution with the greens in the back and the wood. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to this photo. I'm gonna go to develop settings and copy settings. If you haven't watched my video on editing multiple photos and editing hundreds of photos at a time, I'll link it up top, and you guys could check it out. But this is basically what I do. I just copy it over. But this photo, it doesn't look as magical as this one, but I want to keep the same vibe throughout the photos. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go down here colors tab, I'm gonna change the hue of the greens. I'm gonna make them more yellow. Yeah, so now we're starting to get that same kind of feel. And I'm also gonna increase the exposure on this photo just because she's a little far away, so she's a bit darker. And I'm also going to decrease the highlights on this one just a little because her face feels kind of washed out right now. So that's looking pretty solid, and I'm liking that so far. So what we could also do, what I'm thinking is I might add a gradient filter here but drop the exposure just a little, so we kind of have it, this photo directs to the subject and we see her first before we see the wood. So I think this photo is looking pretty good, and I like where it is right now. If we look at the before and after, it's completely different and I like it. So this is how I'd go about editing these two photos. Hope you learned some. Hope that you could use some of these tips when you shoot your senior portraits, shoot little portrait sessions for yourself. I will be making a lot more of these videos, so make sure you hit like, you show some support. So comment down below if you have any future ideas. I do read all of them, so I'll try to make a video about it. And follow your boy on Instagram at Arun-psd, because I will be posting these photos on there. So until then, thanks for watching. See you all.